Hello, another evening is here with us. Welcome to Joy News at 8. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Let's take a look at the stories making the headlines tonight. Now, exhibition of voters register ends across the country. Parliament registers record low attendance as only 28 members of Parliament show up. Trading resumes at Ghana House after last night's fire. Internationally renowned fashion icon Oswald Boateng sells his trademark blazers in African prints. At least 33 people feared death following ethnic attacks between two tribes in Kenya. Those are the headlines. We have all and more. Let's take a closer look now. Proceedings in Parliament were today witnessed by just 28 members of Parliament, about the lowest ever on record for the week. Parliamentary business went ahead nonetheless, despite the fact that the number fell short of the minimum required. Parliament has been recalled for the current emergency sitting to debate the controversial constitutional instrument needed for the creation of 45 new constituencies and other matters.
At his first attempt to start proceedings at 10:40 Monday morning, First Deputy Speaker Edward Ajaho could only marshal 9 MPs, forcing him to suspend sitting for over an hour.
The House is accordingly suspended for an hour. We will be here exactly at 11:40. Honourable members, thank you very much.
When the House reconvened, 19 more MPs joined the 9, bringing the number to 28. Per Parliament's own standing orders, not less than 79 members would have to be present to quorum for the day's business to begin. In this instance, however, the standings were ignored and the House proceeded to discuss the National Health Insurance Bill. Apart from the first day of the emergency sitting, when the controversial CI-77 was laid, subsequent sittings have seen very low turnouts. The emergency sitting is expected to last till September 28.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Election headquarters, on radio, on TV, online.
The 10-day exhibition of the voters' register for prospective voters to confirm their details ended at 6 p.m. today, with the Electoral Commission saying there will be no extension for those who missed out. This is despite calls by some political parties for an extension, citing low patronage and missing registers.
The exhibition of the voters' register started on Saturday, September 1st and ended today, September 10th, 2012. It was to afford all prospective voters the opportunity to check and verify their details, as well as to help remove names of dead persons from the register. The heavy traffic which characterized the biometric voter registration exercise at most centers was visibly absent in the exhibition, with few people trickling in to confirm their data, as we noticed at the Jack and Jill Exhibition Center on the last day.
When I came in and I went through my own, they say I'm true, so that I'll be voting here. Oh, there was not a mistake. I just came. It was not even up to, 5 minutes, and then I finished everything.
The registration officer says patronage, even on the last day of the exercise, has been very low.
We have 2 exhibition centers here, A and B. In the A, we have 1,036 applicants, and the B, 236. But so far, it's like the exhibition center A checked only about 400 and something roughly, and then the exhibition center B just about 61. Weekends is just poor, just like the weekdays.
The situation was no different at the Roman Ridge Exhibition Center.
Today is the 10th day, the last day. And sometimes
We have about 30 people checking their names, or less than 30 people. And other times, we have about 88 people checking their names.
The low turnout for the has been blamed on low publicity and education by the Electoral Commission. But the Public Relations Officer of the EC, Christian Owusu-Parry, disagrees.
We've had occasions to talk about the exhibition exercise on radio and television, and we had to intensify the publicity in the few days leading to the exercise itself. We have been using a lot of radio stations to play jingles and adverts, and we have also been using television. In addition to that, we have our own officers in the field using publicity vans to sensitize the public on the exercise.
So, will the EC extend the day for the exhibition?
We are not considering any extension at all. It is the first time we're doing 10 days of exhibition. Usually we do exhibition in 7 days, but because this is a total replacement of the register and the fact that it's biometric registration, we thought we should add a few more days, and that is why we have moved from 7 to 10 days. But the text messaging is still available. So those who have not been able to go to the exhibition centers and still have access to mobile phones can text their ID numbers to 1413 and they'll get a feedback.
With the exhibition of the voters register over, the EC is now expected to compile the final register for use in December.
Election headquarters, on radio, on TV, online.
The Media Foundation for West Africa is installation of the infamous words fear and alarm from the Criminal Offences Act of 1960. Section 208 of the Criminal Code deems it a misdemeanor to cause fear and alarm or spread rumors through publications which have the potential of disturbing public peace. The foundation is, however, of the opinion most of the words contained in this section of the Criminal Code are vague and must be replaced.
Remove the fear and alarm because we think that those phrases are subjective, they are emotive, and it tends to be quite confusing. How do you define what fear and alarm is? The law does not define them. So what might cause fear and alarm to Mr. A may not move a child. So we thought that it creates a little bit of confusion and and ambiguity, and creates room for selective application. So we had to remove it, and we introduced the word calculated. So here, what we have done is that we have heightened the burden of proof. So the prosecution here has to show that indeed who is making the publication intended to certain consequences of resulting from that publication.
Subsection 2 of the proposed law also provides flexibility in the defense for another offender by readjusting the burden of proof to enable the accused prove beyond reasonable doubt that he did not have reason to believe the statement was false, a leeway not available under the existing law.
The original law says it shall not be a defense, saying that in other words, it's a strict liability offense. But with what we have done, we have said that no, somebody should be able to prove that I didn't know it was false. I acted in good faith. So here, the defense has the opportunity to prove that he acted in good faith and that he didn't know. So here, you don't just put people who merely distribute information or circulate information. There must be some guilt, some men's threat, something to show that he indeed intended to cause harm.
There are also proposals to amend other speech-related laws that touch on indecent inscriptions and publication of obscenity. The Media Foundation for West Africa says the language used in the existing law is too broad and ambiguous and could undermine free speech as well as afford government the opportunity to harass perceived opponents. It is also calling for a clear definition of one's offense in order to strike a balance between responsibility and freedom of speech. The foundation gave political parties a month to scrutinize the documents and make their inputs.
And this is where we take a breather. We'll return with some more news. Please don't go away. You're welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. The chiefs and elders of Tekpebiawe are at odds with the paramount chief of Adan over what they describe as dubious moves to sell off the catchment area of the Songor Lagoon to government. They claim to have cited a document signed by the paramount chief, Nene Abram Kabu Akwaku III, and others that would virtually deny indigents a key source of livelihood. The people of Tekpebiawe who claim to be owners of the coastline are especially aggrieved. They were not consulted.
The document, dated since 11th September 2011, spelled out a move to offer the catchment area to government for sale. According to them, government should have gone through the right channel by involving the rightful owners of the land in any buyout negotiations. Nene Kole IV and elders from Tekpebiawe clan, aggrieved by the intention to sell catchment areas of the Songor Lagoon, are sounding a caution to government to desist from any such agreement. Nene Teteku Kupwa first, the Adontehene of Ada State and member of the Traditional Council, would not comment on how they intercepted the document, but said the message is clear and straightforward.
Now, document is an exhibit. As a traditional council, we have to take decision because we are there as a body protecting the property of Ada on behalf of Ada State. We are telling them to be very careful. If they want to have in the lagoon, we are free. They should pass through the proper channel and negotiate with the chiefs, with the traditional council as a body, and not one or two chiefs. That means we are passing the dubious way.
He hinted they will take legal action if government carries through with the move.
If you do that, and some of us get you, we'll take you to court. Yes. We will take a legal action. Against the people who are trying to go through the back door. I sued the same people already at court. They went and collected 2 billion. They are not able to account for the money for the people of Ada. Only 3 people chopped that money. And I say, look, go to court to go and account for the money. They should pass the proper way. We are prepared to receive them, provided whatever they are coming to do is in the interest of the people of Ada. We agree, why not?
The people of Tekpebiawe clan, however, are of the view that even if government expresses interest, they will only to negotiate if an alternative source of livelihood is provided for locals who have depended on the lagoon for their livelihood for a long time.
We all have reasons for our actions and inactions. Though decisions like murder are not easy to make, abortion, legal or illegal, has become the order of the day. But how would you feel should a doctor degrade your womanhood before providing you with a... And why would the doctor even do that? Sairam Ablan has been finding answers to these questions. Viewers are warned some of the pictures could be disturbing.
What would make you subject yourself to such inhuman treatment in the name of abortion? Believe it or not, this is an also familiar story for some women who, in order to avoid being tagged born one, would go in for abortion as a face-saving measure, safe or unsafe. A survey conducted by the Reproductive Health Unit of the Ghana Health Service revealed that over 1,000 young girls underwent legal abortion in 2011. Of this number, 582 were between the ages of 10 and 14. The survey, however, revealed that the figure represented only a third of the girls who underwent legal abortion. This suggests that the majority of girls ended the lives of their unborn babies through illegitimate means.
Teenage abortion has been very serious over the years, and it's even more serious now. In terms of the fact that we are documenting a lot more, maybe as a result of improved reporting, but whatever it is quite alarming that we ensure that we scale up services to reduce the incidence of unsafe abortion in particular.
But some girls would rather have the baby and manage the shame. In the face of getting pregnant, a married teenager, probably dropping out of school, or being rejected by the man responsible for the pregnancy is torture enough. So, how would you feel if a doctor requests for sex before performing an abortion? And how would you feel if news hits the airwaves about the supposed doctor who performed the procedure with pictures of you in the press?
By acquiescing to the demands of the doctor, you're not feeling anything, all right? But you want your priority then is to get the abortion done for you. So whatever he will demand for you to have the abortion, it doesn't mean they just obliged and they didn't feel anything about the demands of the medical doctor. No, it tells you how badly they denied the abortion. How badly they did it. They could negotiate abortion for anything. Now, they begin to go through the full range of effects that haven't been, when a woman is raped, the woman goes through. They'll begin to go through confusion, shock, surprise, trust. And the bottom line here is trust. Will they feel comfortable going for any other examination again in their life? Which means that it's going to really obstruct their access to health.
So, what could push a supposed doctor to want to have carnal knowledge of his patients, and why would both parties keep this disgraceful act to themselves?
To gather the courage to hold himself out as a medical doctor without being one, it's an issue. You know, it's in touch with his personality. You know, because there may be people who are living multiple personalities. One doctor believing that he's a doctor, one is another thing. One is a sadist who would want to do harm by any means. So we need to have a thorough assessment of this person to come to certain conclusions.
Executive Director of ARC Foundation, Angela Dramana-Boaje, thinks recent news about a medical assistant who sleeps with victims before performing abortion for them is a test of the country's laws.
The law enforcement agencies should take it seriously, should do the best possible investigations. There are legal implications around abortion, and there are legal implications with having sex with people who are really not in a position to give informed consent. And we may be taking our law, but I think it is important for us to really look into that case, especially as many young women are involved.
Perhaps adopting family planning methods prevent unwanted pregnancies and, in the long run, abortions. Clinical psychologist Adolphe Ewuku-Bekwin is therefore asking the media to exercise restraint in how they report on such cases, since it has the potential of driving the victims to make irrational judgments which could cost them their lives.
It is important that the media also bring in mitigation factors. As to whether it goes raw, edited, is in the domain of the media. The right to know, to serve the public, and also about my privacy. Because the camera in there was smuggled in, the women did not give consent, and so we must balance there are ethical implications here, and for me, we should not further harm them.
Since you cannot always identify a madman from the way he talks, just be sure of what you want to do and know who to entrust your life with.
Flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has blamed the ruling National Democratic Congress for the depreciation of the cedi. He said Ghana needs an experienced leader to direct the affairs of the economy. He was speaking to traders, artisans and residents in the Wager constituency as part of his Greater Accra regional tour.
Because Sikano emunyedu. And no near Juma Kessia Yababe. Yababe Tretsen on near the Yenya Sidia Emu do na one in Jano, when your home fast or what the best said Mamusa, when your home fast. Glad for Juma, electrician for Juma, plumbers, carpenters, masons, seamsters, hairdressers, barbers. When I'm Juma, yeah, but Penya Sakwembi, the albino hoarding at I said, get me a poor Juma, Majuma Soma, you be also, and your behind.
Election headquarters, on radio, on TV, online.
Up next is the business report. It's time now for business, and small-scale mining, or galamsey, has gained such a bad reputation, its contribution is often ignored. The Ghana Chamber of Mines is, however, reporting small-scale mining produced a third of the gold mined in Ghana last year. That's about 1.2 million ounces. There have been calls in the past for galamsey operations to be streamlined, but the Chamber of Mines wants government to establish a fund and formulate a national policy on small-scale mining.
President of the Chamber, Dr. Tony Obin, said such a fund will help scale miners overcome the challenges of accessing finance for their operation because of the misconceptions people have about them.
Part of the issues that some of them raise is that they don't have capital to do their business. And it is true. If a small-scale miner went to a bank and wanted a loan, the bank manager may probably not give it to him or her. So we think that if there was a fund, and if we saw small-scale mining as a business, so that people could, with a proper business case, apply for a fund that would be repaid, then that's what it should be.
The small-scale miners, however, see the time it takes for one to acquire a license as one of the biggest impediments and the reason why many of them end up operating illegally.
Mineral Commission they say that latest in 3 weeks you have to have your license. That's what is on paper. But you know, it goes beyond that. Sometimes it takes 1 year to have the license. And looking at the rates at which now the people are getting into these illegalities, if they can stick to even the 3 weeks, I think it will be good. So the enforcement of policies is very important here.
The judiciary, security agencies, the Minerals Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources were all represented at the one-day forum to deliberate on ways to mainstream small-scale mining into the country's mining industry. Apart from the request for a national policy on mining and the Small-Scale Miners Fund, the Chamber of Mines wants government to review and update Act 703 of the 2006 Minerals and Mining Act to conform to modern trends. It also wants training and education of illegal miners, who now number about 450 in each of the 9 mining districts, on mining laws, the dangers associated with their operations, and its devastating impact on the environment to hopefully discourage them. The Chamber is hopeful all the various objectives could be achieved by September next year.
The acting governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Kofi Wampa, was today faced with one of his major tasks as he chairs the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the bank. This would be Dr. Wampa's foremost hurdle he has to overcome since assuming office last month. Many will be looking forward to policies he will come up with to manage the cedi's recent good run against the dollar. Another thing analysts will be looking out for is his approach to managing the amount of money in circulation, especially in an election year, to control inflation. Meanwhile, financial analyst Sidney Kesley Hereford tells Business Report it is too late for Dr. Wampa to make any drastic changes considering the time left for the end of the year. Business operations have resumed for some of the companies located in the Ghana House building in Accra Central after last night's fire outbreak. A number of them, such as Vodafone's call center, had to suspend their activities after electricity to the building was disconnected during the fire.
As at the time Business Report visited the scene, workers hanged around Ghana House not knowing when activities will resume because there was no electricity. Neither had the building been declared safe. The kitchen of High Table Services was where the fire started. At the time of our visit, workers of the kitchen were salvaging the rest of their belongings from the debris. Manager of the kitchen, Joaquin Asari, who spoke off camera, told Business Report the fire had destroyed properties running into 50,000 Ghana cedis. Though firemen could not speak to the team, Asari hinted the fire may have been caused by an electrical fault. However, it is unclear when High Table Services will resume work as the company awaits clearance recommendations from the Ghana National Fire Service. Meanwhile, Director of Finance and Administration at the Trade Ministry, which also owns the Ghana House building, Kwesi Amohimson, tells a Business Report the fire service recommended resumption of business activities after an assessment. Vodafone Ghana is believed to be the most affected, and it is unclear if the call center has resumed work. Earlier, the company announced temporary SMS lines for customers to reach them.
That's it for the Business Report. Coming up next is Business Tips. Coming up next is Smart Investment Tips, followed by Showbiz. And before we move to sports, junior doctors at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital in Kumasi have decided not to attend to emergencies and new patients until their striking supervisors return to work. They say they can no longer work unsupervised. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin sent in this report from the Ashanti region.
Following the withdrawal of services by consultants at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital last month over unpaid allowances, junior doctors have been attending to emergencies and new cases at the hospital. But the junior doctors now say they won't do that anymore until their striking supervisors return to work. President of the Junior Doctors Association of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, Dr. Lawrence Osei-Tutu, told Joy News they would no longer work unsupervised, adding their action is to get the consultants back to work. He said junior doctors are due to write their postgraduate examinations, and currently without any assistance from their striking supervisors, their chances are bleak.
To curtail the situation, we cannot say we are not working. So we'll continue to see the patients that we now have contract with, that is the admitted. But to lessen the burden, let's not take on added responsibility. You see, it is only the consultants who are the medical school who are not working. The other consultants are working with the Ministry of Health and with the hospital. So they are there, and the other specialists who are also there. So we are praying that those two groups will hold the fort. But for junior doctors, the instruction is simple. Stay in the wards and see your patients on the wards. Leave the emergencies and the outpatients to the other seniors to deal with, because you are not, I repeat, the junior doctor cannot work without supervision over there.
If the junior doctors withdraw their vital services, the hospital might have to fall back on the Ministry of Health consultants and specialists to hold the fort till the situation is resolved. The junior doctors want government to intervene swiftly.
I am Rashidat Kadiri. Good evening, and I have the latest in the world of sports. 6 players from the initial 24-month squad named for the Black Stars doubleheader will sit out of an international friendly against Liberia tomorrow. 18 players travelled to Monrovia with head coach Kwesi Appiah earlier today ahead of the game with the Lone Stars.
Adam Lassin Kwarasei, defender Harrison Affo and Isaac Vosa, and striker Emmanuel Clote, who all featured in Ghana's 2-0 over the Flames of Malawi last Saturday, have been recalled by their respective teams, while Emmanuel Ajiman Bedu and Daniel Opare are nursing injuries. The international friendly against the Lone Stars of Liberia at the National Complex in Monrovia forms part of activities marking their independence anniversary. Norway-based defender Razak Nuhu and midfielder Isaac Kofi, who were on the bench in the first leg final 2013 Cup of Nations qualifier against Malawi, are likely to be handed starting roles. Goalkeeper Fatau Dauda could also be manning the post in the absence of the first-choice goalie Kwarasei. Stand-in captain Asamoah Gyan, who was initially a doubt for the friendly due to the club assignment, says he is available for tomorrow's game.
Before the game, I spoke to the coach, and my club is having a game on the 15th actually, and so I spoke to the coach. But a week to this game against Malawi, our game was postponed to 17th. So I told him I'm going to join the team to Liberia, because the game was postponed. So I don't know the kind of team he's going to use in Liberia, but I'm going to join the team as well.
So there's a giant trophy to be won after tomorrow's game that has been provided by Liberian President Sir Johnson Sirleaf. Now, still on the Black Stars, Andre Dede Ayew was not at his best when Ghana won the first leg of a final 2013 Cup of Nations qualifier at home against Malawi on Saturday. The player is asking for more time off after a return from a shoulder injury.
The midfielder struggled for form last Saturday, calling for his substitute second half of the game. Andre suffered a shoulder injury while playing for Ghana in the 2012 Nations Cup, which was jointly hosted by Gabon and Equatorial Guinea in January this year. The Ghana international is slowly working his way back to fitness after spending a long period on the sidelines. Following a surgical procedure in late April, the 22-year-old, who captained Ghana to Africa's first ever Under-20 World Cup trophy, is sure to lift up his game in subsequent assignments.
We're all football players, and if we calculate everything well, I was out about 4 months. Just came back, had pre-season, playing all my games in my club, got another injury, so bit by bit, like I said before the game, I'm not on my 100%, but I'm coming in bit by bit. It was already with the coach. We spoke that I'm not going to play 90 minutes. So it's part of it. It's part of my fit gaining again.
So when you say a prayer, remember to say one for the Black Stars, who are in action against the Lone Stars of Liberia tomorrow. Kickoff is exactly 4 p.m. and that would end it for sports for tonight. Coming up is international news. Stay tuned.
Very much appreciated by the entire team here. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. We have 11 that will come up, so please stay tuned. Good night.